Welcome to this Introduction to the Business of Life podcast hosted and created by entrepreneur Gerald's. This podcast will take you on a journey of learning and understanding. A way to see life from the perspective of people of diverse backgrounds from all walks of life around the world. This podcast was created to be as if you are a fly on the wall listening to conversations from two or more people. Gerald wants you all to be able to learn something from it and/or get a different perspective on life and situations that you have never been in and/or heard about.
Gerald was born and raised in Southern California by way of San Diego and Long Beach. He joined the Navy at the age of 21. He served 20 years in the submarine force, retiring from the Navy at the age of 41. His time as a submariner shaped him in more ways than one. Seeing many parts of the world allowed Gerald to get a greater understanding of the different cultures around the world. He traveled everywhere from Italy, France, Australia, Russia, Croatia, Japan, China, just to name a few. He also endured 5 6-month deployments at sea. Many of them included less than 30 days in port out of the 6 months.
Gerald did not get his education the traditional route. He did not finish college prior to joining, as he enlisted directly after a year and half of a local 2-year college. The Navy allowed him to get a greater understanding of life by learning on the job and/or by experiencing hard work firsthand, learning how to communicate on various levels, interpersonal and public. Going through the ranks, he learned how to be led, years before learning how to lead. It is Gerald's belief that before you can be a good leader, you must understand what it is to be led. You must see the ins and outs of becoming a system expert as the worker, along with getting a greater understanding of technical and book knowledge. It gave him the gift of empathy and understanding, while also experiencing trials and tribulations that helped mold him to a very well-rounded person and leader. Communication was always something that Gerald saw as his biggest weakness and/or fear of. This was really his biggest areas of self-doubt. The more criticism that he faced of this communication, the more he thought less of himself in that area. That caused him to continue to have self-doubt. The more he was able to give others training as a leading petty officer, and then as the leading chief petty officer, gave him more and more confidence in his abilities to fake it until you make it. After retiring from the Navy, Gerald went on to earn a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. After hearing various successful businessmen and motivational speakers, such as the likes of Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, Gerald decided to take on his fear of communicating and public speaking by starting a national podcast. According to Gerald, this was a way of taking something he saw as a weakness and directly facing it head-on. There is a quote that he believes in: "You have to do something over 30 to 60 days to make something a habit." With this in mind, Gerald started his first podcast, Lakers Talk with Gerald. He has heard that you should start with something that you feel you can speak on and are passionate about. He knew that he could talk about the Los Angeles Lakers basketball infinitely, as he has been a die-hard Lakers fan since he was 12 years old. He made a goal to record at least 100 episodes. This seemed like a lofty goal, as he has no previous experience and knowledge of doing so. Gerald ended up accomplishing that goal, though it took him 2 years to do so. What he found is that it gave him a sense of accomplishment. He also noticed the more he recorded, listened to the playback along with feedback from others, it allowed him to become better each time at public communication and less fearful towards doing so. It appeared to be true of what they say about doing 1,000 hours of something makes you more of an expert in that area. After accomplishing his goal and gaining great confidence in his voice and skill set, Gerald decided to create the Business of Life podcast with the want and need to talk about subjects that can have a worldwide audience, as they would be subjects that apply to all walks of life around the world. This podcast is now available for all to listen and enjoy. You can find his podcast on his website, thebusinessoflife.com, or whatever platform that you listen to your podcasts.